How often do we find ourselves in situations where it seems like we need to say something right now, even if we're not entirely sure about the correctness of our words? In the heat of emotions, we may express our thoughts and feelings without considering the consequences. However, often after such moments, we realize that it would have been better to remain silent. Today, I want to share with you 10 situations when silence can be the best solution, even if it seems otherwise at first glance. Let's explore when and why it's important to apply this tool in our everyday lives. Part 1. Dealing with criticism. Dealing with criticism is an inevitable part of everyone's life. When someone expresses a negative opinion about us or our work, the natural instinct may be a defensive reaction or a desire to refute the criticism. However, the wisdom of the Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius, suggests that in some cases, silence is the best solution. Imagine being criticized or finding yourself in a dispute. Instead of instantly engaging in an argument or defending your point of view, try to set aside your emotions and simply remain silent. This may seem challenging at first, especially if you feel unjustly accused or misunderstood. However, Marcus Aurelius teaches us that silence in such situations is not a defeat, but rather a wise and strategic decision. When we can restrain our emotions and avoid arguments, we conserve our energy and dignity. Instead of wasting our strength on fruitless disputes or attempts to prove our righteousness, we can focus on more important tasks or simply maintain inner harmony. Moreover, silence in response to criticism can send a positive signal. It can demonstrate your maturity and ability to maintain self-control in challenging situations. It can also command respect from the critic and prompt them to reflect on their own words. But of course, silence in response to criticism does not mean that we should ignore valid remarks or refuse to discuss issues. It is important to distinguish between situations and know when to speak up and when it is better to remain silent. Thus, dealing with criticism is not only a challenge but also an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. And sometimes wisdom lies not in responding to every criticism, but in remaining silent and preserving our inner strength and dignity. Part 2. Unnecessary discussion. In life, we often encounter situations where we're invited to engage in futile discussions or arguments that hold no value or constructiveness. Rather than wasting our precious time and energy on fruitless disputes, it would be wise to simply maintain silence. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that we have a choice in what to engage with and what not to. Refusing to participate in unnecessary discussion doesn't signify weakness or fear. On the contrary, it's a display of wisdom and self-assurance. Why expend energy on something that serves no purpose and doesn't aid in our self-development? When we abstain from participating in futile arguments, we demonstrate that we value our time and strive to use it for something more important and productive. Such silence not only helps preserve our inner peace, but also aids us in staying focused on goals and tasks that truly matter to us. Moreover, engaging in unnecessary discussion can deteriorate our relationships with others. Disputes and quarrels can destroy friendships and cause tension in both professional and personal relationships. Therefore, it's wise to refrain from participating in fruitless arguments to maintain harmony and peace in our relationships. It's also important to understand that we have the right to choose what to engage in and what not to. Refusing to participate in unnecessary discussion isn't a sign of weakness or uncertainty, but rather a manifestation of maturity and wisdom. It allows us to preserve our inner peace and focus on more important aspects of life. Thus, when faced with an invitation to participate in an unnecessary discussion or argument, we can simply choose to remain silent. This enables us to preserve our time and energy for more meaningful pursuits, maintain good relationships with those around us, and demonstrate our wisdom and maturity in communication. Part 3. When words can harm. Sometimes in life, we encounter situations where our words can do more harm than good. These are moments when silence becomes our best ally, and speaking is not advisable. Why is this so important? Let's delve into it. In a world where everyone holds their own beliefs and viewpoints, facing situations where our words can cause harm is inevitable. This could be a situation where you're asked an unpleasant question that causes discomfort or could lead to conflict. In such moments, the instinctive reaction might be to defend yourself or your viewpoint, but it's important here to remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Silence in such situations is not a sign of weakness, but a manifestation of wisdom and willpower. It allows us to maintain calmness and contemplate the situation before taking any action or uttering a word. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics, advocated for reflection and mindfulness in words, saying, "Mediocre thoughts lead to noble deeds." When we allow ourselves to remain silent, we give ourselves time to assess the situation, clarify our true feelings and intentions, and understand the consequences of our words. This can prevent unnecessary conflicts, disputes, or unpleasant outcomes that could arise from thoughtless remarks. Silence doesn't mean abandoning our beliefs or fearing conflict. Rather, it's an indicator of strength of character and the ability to control our emotions and reactions to the world around us. Remember that willpower and wisdom lie not only in speaking but also in knowing when it's better to remain silent. Especially in professional environments or social gatherings, it's important to be mindful of our words. As Confucius said, "He who does not know how to be silent does not know how to speak." Attention to our words and the ability to control them help us build more harmonious and respectful relationships with others. So when encountering situations where our words can cause harm, remember the power of silence. It's not only a manifestation of wisdom but also a care for oneself and others. Allow yourself time for reflection and carefully consider your words, remembering that they hold power and can leave long-lasting consequences. Part 4. When it's necessary to listen to others. In life, we often encounter moments when someone needs support, understanding, or simply someone to listen to them. In these moments, silence can be the best way to show respect and care for the other person. Think about how you feel when you need to share something important to you. In such moments, you want to be heard and understood without interruption or interference. Similarly, other people want to be listened to. Here, silence becomes an expression of respect and attention to the feelings and needs of another person. Sometimes our task is not to give advice or express our opinion, but simply to be there and listen. This can be especially important in difficult life situations when a person needs support and understanding. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, emphasized the importance of wisdom and the ability to listen to others. The ability to listen and be empathetic is not only a sign of respect for others, but also a valuable quality that helps us better understand the world around us. When we give another person the opportunity to speak, we create an atmosphere of trust and support. The person may feel that their feelings and opinions matter, that they are not alone, and that their voice is heard. This can lead to strengthening relationships and creating a more harmonious atmosphere in communication. Remember that it's important not only to be willing to listen to others, but also to be ready to hear them. This means not only physical presence, but also emotional readiness to carefully perceive their words and emotions. Be open and tolerant to the feelings and experiences of others, and you will see how it helps strengthen your connection and understanding of each other. Thus, when someone needs your attention and support, remember the power of silence. Show respect for their feelings and opinions. Give them the opportunity to express themselves, and you will see how it creates the foundation for deeper and more meaningful relationships. Part 5. In conflict with loved ones. When we find ourselves in conflict with loved ones, it can evoke unpleasant emotions and tension. In such moments, our reactions can be emotional and sometimes impulsive. However, it's important to realize that silence in these situations can be a powerful tool for managing conflicts and preserving relationships. Often, conflicts between loved ones arise from different understandings or viewpoints on a particular situation. In such cases, our initial reaction may be emotional, and under the influence of anger or hurt, we may lean towards a sharp response or even aggression. However, as the wisdom of the Stoics teaches us, controlling our emotions is the key to resolving conflicts. Silence in a quarrel with loved ones can be a way to prevent the situation from escalating. When interacting with people close to us, sometimes silence is a more productive approach than continuing the argument or conflict. It gives both sides the opportunity to calm down and collect themselves before starting a conversation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics and emperor of the Roman Empire, called for wisdom and self-control in all situations. He taught that we should control our emotions and act with respect for ourselves and others. It's important to remember that silence in a quarrel does not mean avoiding conversation or the issue. It's rather a strategy of temporary withdrawal to find a more effective way of communication and conflict resolution. Silence can be a temporary step back from the conversation to give both sides time to cool off and prepare for productive communication. Remember that in a quarrel with loved ones, the key is to maintain respect and love for each other. Silence can be a way to express this respect, giving both sides the opportunity to express their thoughts and feelings in a calmer environment. Thus, in a quarrel with loved ones, remember the power of silence. Give yourself and your counterpart time for reflection and calming down before engaging in dialogue. This will help you maintain composure and resolve the conflict with respect for yourself and the other person. Part 6. In negotiations. Let's delve into the world of negotiations, akin to a theatrical stage where each participant plays their role. In this intricate dance of opinions, many feel compelled to fill silence with words, as if silence is a sign of weakness. However, sometimes silence can be the most powerful position. When your negotiating partner presents their proposals and viewpoint, there's a temptation to instantly react, voicing your thoughts in counter-arguments. However, wisdom lies in giving yourself time to carefully perceive what's been said, analyze the information, and then express your position. According to Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, patience and wisdom play an important role in effective communication. He taught that true strength is not displayed in a fiery reaction but in the ability to restrain one's emotions and thoughts, and then articulate them skillfully and purposefully. Silence during negotiations takes on significance not only as a sign of attentive regard for the interlocutor but also as a strategic tool. It helps deepen understanding of the situation, uncover hidden motives, and plan steps for the subsequent stages of negotiations. It's noteworthy that silence also helps reduce tension in communication and prevent conflict situations. It creates an atmosphere of respect and mutual understanding, conducive to a more constructive exchange of opinions and ideas. It's important to remember that negotiations are not just about achieving one's goals, but also an opportunity to learn to listen to and consider the interests of other parties. Wisdom and restraint help us maintain composure and self-control in any situation. Thus, silence in negotiations is not a sign of weakness, but rather a demonstration of respect and strategic thinking. Let's remember the power of silence and use it in our negotiations as a powerful tool for achieving desired results. Part 7. When making decisions. How often do we find ourselves in situations where an important decision needs to be made and our thoughts start buzzing like a beehive? And in that moment, when time pressure and the expectations of others begin to weigh heavily, silence can become our best ally. In a world where there is an abundance of information and impressions, and countless urgent decisions seem to be looming, wisdom lies not only in speaking but also in the ability to remain silent. Before making a decision, give yourself time to carefully consider the situation. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and philosopher, taught that wisdom lies in weighing all aspects of the problem and only then making a decision. He reminded us of the importance of thorough analysis, contemplating consequences, and evaluating alternatives. Silence in the moment of decision-making allows us to focus, identify the essence, and penetrate to the core of the problem. It helps us avoid hasty conclusions and mistakes that could lead to undesirable consequences. However, silence in the process of decision-making does not imply fear or lack of confidence. It is rather a demonstration of the ability to control our emotions and thoughts to make a conscious and thoughtful decision. It is also important to remember that silence does not mean shirking responsibility. It's simply a temporary pause that helps us gather our thoughts and weigh the pros and cons before making a decision. Thus, silence when making decisions is not a manifestation of inertia or lack of determination. It is rather a strategic move that allows us to make correct and reasoned decisions based on careful analysis and a balanced approach. Let's learn the wisdom of silence and use it as a tool for making sound and conscious decisions in our lives. Part 8. During arguments. In the modern world, where words often become weapons in the battle of minds, silence can become our most powerful weapon. In an argument where emotions boil over and words flow like lush, swirling waves, sometimes the most reasonable action will be to simply maintain silence. Silence in such moments is not a sign of weakness but, on the contrary, a display of wisdom and self-control. Wisdom lies not only in the ability to express one's opinion, but also in the ability to remain silent when necessary. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and philosopher, taught that true strength is demonstrated in the ability to maintain dignity and composure even in the most tense situations. In moments of heated argument, when each side is ready to defend their viewpoint to the end, silence can be the key to resolving conflict. It allows each side to calm down, gather themselves, and express their thoughts and feelings meaningfully. However, silence during an argument should not be interpreted as a refusal to engage in dialogue. It is rather a strategy aimed at smart communication regulation. Silence allows us to better understand the opponent's position and weigh our own arguments, so that we can then express them with clarity and persuasiveness. Thus, silence during arguments is not only a tool of self-defense, but also a manifestation of high emotional and intellectual maturity. It helps us avoid unnecessary conflicts, provides a temporary retreat for assessing the situation and making thoughtful decisions. Let's learn to use silence as a powerful means of managing our emotions and maintaining harmony in relationships. Part 9. When focus is needed. In the modern world, where informational noise and constant distractions can divert us from our inner thoughts and feelings, silence becomes our precious ally. It is not only a way to escape the world's noise, but also an opportunity to focus on our thoughts and emotions. When we are surrounded by noise and hustle, when our minds are overloaded with information and external influences, silence provides us with a chance to turn inward. It's a moment when we can take a break from the external world and immerse ourselves in our inner world to contemplate, analyze, and understand our thoughts and feelings. Silence becomes a kind of meditation that allows us to find inner peace and clarity. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, reminds us that true happiness and wisdom lie within us. In this context, silence becomes the key to developing self-awareness and self-understanding. When we know how to embrace silence, we find the opportunity to connect with our inner voice and listen to its wisdom. In our world, where attention is often scattered and fragmented, silence helps us focus on important matters. It allows us to momentarily detach from the external world and dive into our thoughts, feelings, and goals. When we can concentrate on our inner needs and tasks, we become more productive and effective. Part 10. In moments of uncertainty. In each of our lives, there come moments when we find ourselves at a crossroads, when our future seems unclear and uncertain. These may be moments of change, job transitions, moving to a new city, ending relationships, or other events that compel us to pause and contemplate how to proceed. It is precisely in these times that silence becomes not only a means of maintaining inner balance, but also a powerful tool for making the right decision. When faced with uncertainty, our thoughts often become chaotic and our emotions turbulent. We may feel lost, experiencing anxiety and worry about what the future may hold. In these moments, silence becomes a way to find inner peace and clarity of mind. It calls us to skillfully control our emotions and give ourselves time to carefully consider the situation. Silence in moments of uncertainty is an expression of our inner strength and wisdom. It is a moment when we turn to ourselves to find answers to the questions that trouble us. We turn to our inner intuition, to the wisdom that resides within us, and strive to hear the voice of our inner foresight. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that wisdom lies in the ability to maintain composure in all situations. In moments of uncertainty, silence becomes an expression of this wisdom. It gives us the opportunity to gather ourselves, accept the situation as it is, and prepare for action with intelligence and discernment. However, silence in moments of uncertainty does not signify passivity or inaction. It is rather a temporary retreat necessary to carefully assess the situation and make the right decision. In this silence lies the strength and determination that enable us to move forward with confidence and wisdom. Thus, in moments of uncertainty, silence becomes our ally, helping us make the right decision and act with intelligence and consciousness. It is a moment when we turn to ourselves to find answers to our inner questions and find the path to a conscious and balanced decision. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that the ability to stay silent in certain situations can be our greatest ally. While in the heat of emotions, we often tend to speak our minds immediately, wisdom lies in the ability to control our emotions and choose moments when silence speaks louder than words. Use silence as a tool to maintain calmness, resolve conflicts, make thoughtful decisions, and find inner clarity. Remember, sometimes the wisest thing to do is simply to remain silent.